Thank you for joining us today. Hello and welcome to From Lansing with Love. I'm your host, State Representative Leslie Love. Every month we discuss a different topic with interesting guests. I hope you find this program both informative and insightful. Ideas for bills and new laws come from a variety of sources, and as your representative in the House of Representatives, many come from my constituents in the district. That was the origin of House Bill 4422 that I introduced in March that designated the month of April of each year as Sarcoidosis Awareness Month in the state of Michigan. Sarcoidosis is a debilitating and potentially deadly multi-organ inflammatory disease that's estimated to affect more than 200,000 people in the United States. My guest today worked tirelessly to help us move this bill forward. Sheron Williams of Redford is the founder of the Michigan Unstoppable Warriors Sarcoidosis Group and a patient ambassador for the Foundation for Sarcoidosis Research. And I'm so happy and excited to have her here. And so thank you for being here.
Thank you, Representative Love.
I just want people to know, when I was a freshman legislator, and I'm now in my third term, I remember you advocating for this. And then we had Senator Kniezek, and you was working with his office. And now he's not in the Senate, and we've come to work together even more closely on this particular legislation. Yes. And I want to thank you for your advocacy and your work in this. You come to my coffee hours. You were explaining to people at the coffee hours what it is and why it's important. I got the rose, and then I've got an award that you brought. I mean, it's just amazing. So please tell us about yourself and how just first tell us about yourself.
Well, I was diagnosed with sarcoidosis in 1992, so it's been 27 years for me. And when I was diagnosed, there were plenty of hospitals and doctors that I went to, and they didn't know what was wrong with me. I was told that I had a bladder infection, that I had a kidney infection. I even had one doctor tell me that I had been poisoned. And I just continued to get sick and sicker, and no one could tell me. And my symptoms were so sporadic where I had rashes on my legs. My legs were swelled, then they would go back down. My vision was blurry. I couldn't understand. One day I could see, and the next day I couldn't see very clearly. Also, my speech would come and go in and out like that as I spoke. And each doctor I went to, no one seemed to know what was wrong with me. I was so tired. Seemed like all I can do is just have enough energy to go to work and come home. That's it. It was a friend of mine that I couldn't go bowling. And he was like, something must be wrong with you. If you can't go bowling, something's wrong with you. So,
because you love bowling.
Well, no, he loved bowling. So, but he ended up taking me to U of M. And I can remember the doctor telling me, you either have sarcoidosis or either TB. And I thought to myself, well, I've heard of TB, but what was the other word that you just said to me? And he says, we're going to run a few more tests. And they did. And he came back and he says, you have sarcoidosis. And he says, but it seems as though you're at the end of a flare-up. And I was like, okay, so what do we do? He says, well, we'll just let it ride out. And it was December the 15th. It was right before Christmas. And true enough, I was feeling much better. However, once the new year came in effect, I got extremely sick where I was going to sleep. I would sleep the entire day because I just to get up to go to the bathroom, I was exhausted. It took everything out of me.
So Sheron, if a person is watching this and they say, well, I've had symptoms where I had shortness of breath, I get these rashes, I'm fatigued, but I think I'm just tired, I'm overworked, or maybe I need to change my diet. Are there some telltale signs that you've learned since your research and work on this that a person should go and tell their doctor, can you check this for me if they experience that?
Well, sarcoidosis is usually the last thing the doctors check. It's the the disease of elimination, meaning, well, we've checked A and B and C. Oh, you must have D. So usually, as far as getting any tests done, I tell people they're going to want to do a bronchoscopy, where they're going to want to get a small tissue from the lung, because that's where it shows up. Although you have all of these other symptoms going on, 90% of patients that have sarcoidosis has it in their lungs. Whether they have smoked or they haven't smoked, it shows up in the lungs. And it's once they do this test, then they can determine, and sometimes they can look at chest x-rays also. X-rays can be done to determine whether or not if they believe you have sarcoidosis. And once that is done, then they can determine whether or not what type of regimen of medications you may or may not need.
Okay. Is there a cure for this?
No, there isn't.
So what would people do, or what do you do to manage?
What I do to manage is, first of all, finding the right doctor. That's the key. Since it is a rare disease, it's finding the right physicians and the right team of doctors. I usually tell people, until you find a doctor that can eat, sleep, and think sarcoidosis, you're not going to be feeling good. So now that I have a very good team, I've worked with my doctors for over 10 years. I have a regimen of medications that I take. I'm on different types of inhalers and things, and eat proper. Eat certain foods also can trigger sarcoidosis.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, so what causes it? Is there a lifestyle? Is it hereditary? What stirs that up in you?
They haven't determined that it is hereditary, meaning it's passed from one person to another person through their relatives. But what they believe and what I believe is something environmental. But it goes to, if you and I are in the same area and you inhale something and I inhale the same thing, but I get sick from it and you don't, I develop sarcoidosis and you don't, it goes to think, what is it that makes our genes different? So they've yet to determine the exact cause, but they are doing some research.
Wow. So in your advocacy for sarcoidosis, and even as I am coming into this and learning about it myself, I wonder, it's like, well, what is this? And you look it up, and it's vague. It seems like a very broad when I look at descriptions. What has been in your advocacy as the Michigan Unstoppable Warriors Sarcoidosis group? What are some of the challenges in educating people about this, helping them understand what it is and how to get treated for it?
Well, the first thing to understand is that it mimics a lot of other diseases. That's the reason why it's the disease of process of elimination. Is also, like I said, is making sure you find the right connection as far as what type of doctor you should be seeing for this. Your primary doctor may just have a small area of information, because when they go to medical school, there isn't a large book on sarcoidosis. From what I'm told, it's just a small paragraph to learn about this.
So how did you find your doctors?
How I found my doctors, I went to U of M, and I continued to research. And I researched until I actually found a doctor that studied sarcoidosis. And that was hard to find.
Yeah.
I mean,
in Michigan?
Yes.
Or just across the nation?
Across the nation.
Wow. Okay.
Across the nation, because there are other patient ambassadors, such as myself, that's throughout the United States, that they don't have sarcoidosis specialists in their state. They don't have any, so they're using other doctors that are treating them and getting their information from a different state and everything. So it's important that if you think you have this, is to go and have the proper tests done, like a chest x-ray and a bronchoscopy.
So tell me, how did you come to start Michigan Unstoppable Warriors Sarcoidosis group, and how can people get a hold of you and And what does the group do?
Well, the group is, we meet about 5 times out of the year. And I provide different speakers to come in and speak to the group as far as sarcoidosis goes, as if there's an ears, nose, and throat doctor that's available because it affects that. And I've had people come in and speak to us regarding insurance. What I like, what I like to try to provide is things that I have gone through. That I believe that will help others. And I remember when I would try to get assistance, financial assistance, since they had not heard of the disease, I was pushed to the side. The same thing goes for drugs. Since the disease has not been thoroughly researched by FDA, we don't have a designated medication. The go-to medication is prednisone.
Oh, that's steroid. It does a lot of different
Welcome
things.
to my steroid body.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the #1 medication.
Prednisone is the Tylenol of, okay.
So there's other medications that do work, but what happens is when you go to your insurance company and they say it's not designated for that. Steroids go with sarcoidosis. So I bring in different insurance individuals that can help within the group, that can tell people how they can get insurance to help with their medications.
So how important is it to have a group like this? How important is that support?
It's very important. There are several groups that's within the Detroit area and throughout the state of Michigan. We're small groups, but there are hundreds of patients here in Michigan. And the reason why I know that there's hundreds, I've actually called hospitals and I told them I was looking for a sarcoidosis doctor. And they said, well, we don't have that. I said, well, do you have a pulmonary doctor? And they, okay. And then what I do is once I get to that department, I said, how many patients have you seen? How many patients do you have? I would like to come. And they just give me an estimated number. So throughout the state of Michigan, I know that there are hundreds of us here. And the sarcoidosis brings on depression. So there are plenty of patients that don't know that the groups exist. They don't think that there's no one such as myself and others out here that are fighting and helping and trying to help bring the word to the state of Michigan.
Listen, you are a warrior in this, and I know that you are persistent. You are an excellent advocate. The way you have just stayed in contact with my office, not just this year or this month, but throughout the years. So when you say I've called these hospitals, she called the hospitals. I know you did. And you call your representatives. You want your elected officials to know about this. So I want to thank you for that. And I'll tell you, we're going to come back after the break and talk more with Sheron Williams. And it's time for us to take a break, but I want you to come right back. We're going to do more, and we're going to talk about this disease, sarcoidosis, and all the things around the House Bill 4422 that is championed by our good friend, Miss Williams. I'll see you right back after this.
You're tired of the unexplained fatigue, rashes, wheezing, or joint pain with no answers from your doctor. You can't work or play with your kids. If you've gone months, even years with these or other mysterious symptoms and nothing helps, it's time to take action and seek answers at StopSarcoidosis.org. Discover treatment options, research, physicians, even support groups, and more. Sarcoidosis is a rare disease and it can be difficult to find care. It's time to become empowered at StopSarcoidosis.org.
These are cool. Did you, what did you?
Welcome back to From Lansing with Love. We are here with Sheron Williams talking about sarcoidosis. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you.
So I said when we came back from the break, we're going to talk about you being a patient ambassador for the Foundation of Sarcoidosis Research.
Yes.
So tell us about that. How did you become an ambassador?
I became an ambassador a few years ago with the foundation. And the foundation offers so much to patients with sarcoidosis. They offer a patient register. They offer, as far as a doctor register, meaning patients or people that are freshly diagnosed with sarcoidosis, they can go to the website for Foundation for Sarcoidosis Research and put in their state and their city and find out if there's a doctor that's near them that can help with their symptoms and help them with sarcoidosis. They also have different patient conferences throughout the entire year where they go from different states and have doctors come and speak to patients with sarcoidosis. Also, they offer information such as what type of research is being done right now for patients. They are leading the way as far as the research that we need to try to help with this disease, whether it's trying to get proper medication or either trying to simply find a cure what we desperately want.
Right. Do you have to have training to be an ambassador? Is there a program for that?
Yes, we actually go through training every year. We go to Washington, and we go to the state capitol there, also, excuse me, the capital, Washington, and we train. And what we do is we learn how to discuss things in groups. We learn how to make sure we do self-care where we're taking care of ourselves, because I can't handle anything that you may be going through if I haven't taken care of myself.
Right.
So we also learn about what new researches are going on so that we can share that information as we meet people. We actually have it's a full 3 days of training, and it's very in-depth and everything, and the foundation is wonderful.
Do they teach you how to do advocacy for legislation and things like that?
Yes.
Okay.
They take us through as far as how to approach our legislators, excuse me, and how to connect with you, how to get to know and how to approach each person as far as the different things to bring awareness to our state.
Okay. Are there duties and responsibilities of ambassadors, sarcoidosis ambassadors?
Yes, we have trainings throughout the year that we have to attend, so many webinars and different trainings that's done as far as the webinar goes. And then also we do lobby days. We have our lobby days, our in-district lobby days.
That's right.
At the end of the year.
Yeah, because you've been up here.
Yes.
You brought the whole crew.
Yeah.
To the Capitol.
That's a whole nother organization that I'm part of, too.
Well, what organization is that?
That's NORD. That's the National Organization for Rare Diseases.
Wow.
Because sarcoidosis is considered a rare disease. So when I got diagnosed, I thought to myself, I've got to get to know this. In order for me to be ahead and get and be a winner in this and be the warrior that I want to be, I have to know my opponent. And I had to get to know sarcoidosis. And that means that I have to fight it with everything that I get. And in order to fight it, you must get to know it. You got to educate yourself. Anytime that you get diagnosed with whatever it may be, you have to educate yourself so that when your doctor is speaking to you, you understand. And if you don't understand, you can ask the questions so that you can understand. Right. So I decided to, instead of staying at home and staying depressed, I decided I wanted to have a voice. And my voice helps me, it heals me every day.
Absolutely, yes.
Because to be quite honest, I need 2 or 3 naps sometime a day. When I came to your coffee houses, I have to go home, I have to take a nap because I get tired.
Right.
But being a part of the different organizations helped me connect with other people, and it makes you humble because what I'm going through, and then you meet someone else and you find out that they're going through something.
And I can imagine, and what I hope comes from this interview with you, that people watching would see your passion and go, wow, I'm feeling this. How do I find her? And connect into that source. So if someone, how do they get in contact with your group or with the foundation? If someone wants to be involved, whether they're a patient or they want to be an advocate or they want to just support you, what should they do?
In order to contact me, my name, Sheron Williams. If you actually, to be quite honest, if you Google Sheron Williams and put sarcoidosis after it, everything will come up. Everything will come up. However, for my group, I'm on Facebook. They can Facebook me. You can email me, warriorsarcoid 2015 at gmail.com is my email. As far as the foundation goes, it's Foundation for Sarcoidosis Research. Their website, you can put that in and it will come up as far as their information too.
So what events do you have coming up? What type of very public that the public can enjoy with you?
We are hosting our third walk this year for sarcoidosis. It's held at U of M Hospital at the courtyard. And the registration can be registered through the Foundation of Sarcoidosis Research. All of the funds go to research, and we have the walk for about an hour, and then afterwards we have a meet and greet. Everybody gets to sit down and have something to eat, and I have material there for people to learn about sarcoidosis. And also I have a ceremony for people that have lost someone dear to them for sarcoidosis. And then we have a celebration of the introduction of the bill that you introduced. So.
All right. Tell me, do you have any great testimony stories from people that you may have met on this journey, or anyone that just really affected you and made your advocacy very real outside of yourself?
You know, I will say that about 3 years ago when I went to Washington for the first time, I met a group, my first group of ambassadors that I was a part of. And I would say the entire group inspired me because I was actually around people that knew exactly what I was going through, but then I seen a different side because each one of us who have sarcoidosis have totally different symptoms from each other. We all do not have the same. And so, and then learning that others with my condition had went to their legislators and asked for recognition made me think to myself, I can do the same thing. And I've always thought of myself as, no, whatever is presented before me, I'm gonna fight. I told my doctor when I went to my doctor, I said, this is your job is to make sure that when I leave this place, that my death certificate does not say sarcoidosis. See, we're all going.
Right.
I don't have a problem leaving. I said, but see, this is your job. And so as he looked at me, he says, oh, okay. I said, if it does, I will come back and haunt you. And he was like, oh. I was like, yeah, serious. I'm not sure how it goes, but you better make sure I get hit by a Mack truck. But if it says sarcoidosis, I'm coming back.
Right.
I'm coming back for you.
That's real conviction. That's real conviction. And so let's place that into House Bill 4422. It is a bill to acknowledge April as Sarcoidosis Awareness Month. And I'm proud to be one of the House bill sponsor for that. Why is it important? I know when I went around on the floor to get co-sponsorships, a lot of people had never heard of this. And so some of this is a lot more educating, even within our own membership here. But, and that's a part of the reason why I want to do the show, to say, why is it important? Why do we need to make sure that every month that we acknowledge this, we understand what this disease is, and we fight for the cure just as much as we do for breast cancer or all the other causes that are out there. But I want to hear from your perspective. Why do you think it's so important?
Why it's so important is that, again, there's hundreds of us here in the state of Michigan, and that it is this rare disease, and that we want a voice also. We would like for people that has this and that doesn't have this to recognize this disease as what it is. That it's a disease that there's no cure for it. Anyone of any race or nature can have this disease, and it can truly be debilitating. It can truly turn. You can get up one day. I'll give you an example. I got up one day and I was eating. The very next day, Representative Love, I could not eat. I couldn't swallow. It had knocked out the nerve in the uvula in my throat that it would not move. I had a feeding tube. To know that next day that I could not eat for over 6 weeks, it should be known that April of each year here in the state of Michigan, that it should be recognized, because there are so many of us here struggling with it.
I want to know, just hearing you speak like this, I mean, we have had a chance to talk, but I don't think it's been on this level. What gives you your strength? I am looking and hearing just such tenacity and hope. And just you're a light of positive energy. What is strengthening you to continue to do this? When you say, I woke up and I couldn't swallow. There are times when I'm so fatigued, I have a hard time breathing. What inspires you? What motivates you to keep fighting like this?
I don't want it to win. I refuse to lay down and let it take over me. I'm not going to let it do it. That's the reason why when I started a group, I knew I wanted to, the first thing came to my mind was warrior. That's something of strength. I have that. Unstoppable. That's me. I'm not going to just lay down. Like I said, once you know your opponent, you get to know it and you find out what its weakness is. Its weaknesses is that I take my breaks when I need to, and then I wake up and I'm revived. And I believe there are some of us out here, we stop believing. And when you stop believing, that's when you give in to whatever it is that's battling you.
That's right.
And I refuse to stop believing. If it means that tomorrow I won't have a cure tomorrow, I believe.
That's right.
That
That's
means
why.
that means okay. So it's not coming Wednesday. It's not coming Wednesday. That means it's coming Thursday. Okay. I believe and that's what keeps me going is I believe.
Now, Sheron Williams, you are truly a Michigan unstoppable, a warrior, sarcoidosis champion. So thank you so much for being here. And on our website, not on our website, somewhere on the screen, we'll have some information of how people can get a hold of the Michigan Unstoppable Warrior Sarcoidosis Group, as well as the Foundation for Sarcoidosis Research. And then your event on April 27th, the walk.
Yes.
On April, where is that going to be?
At U of M Hospital Courtyard.
In Ann Arbor.
Yes, in Ann Arbor.
Wow.
12 to 2.
Powerful woman, powerful warrior. I'm so excited, and I'm looking forward to House Bill 4422 coming up for testimony and you being there to be the star presenter. So that's about all the time we have today, folks. I'd like to once again thank my guest, the amazing, the remarkable Sheron Williams, patient ambassador for the Foundation for Sarcoidosis Research, for joining us, and thanks to all of you for watching. And if you have an idea for a show, please contact my office, and that contact information will be on the screen. So until next time, be good to yourself and each other, and with that, we're all clear and out of here.